Well, it's all going down here, isn't it, eh? Hooray! Yes, Wadey boy, I did get your message, mate. I was just sitting here chilling out for a minute. Thought, right, here we go again. Albast, hey up, dear Scotland, hiya. Hampshire Hog, I am for music. Thanks for coming back. Well, you've just had a brief insight into what I've got going on here. Now, if that is a hack, right, I've got to be a bit careful what I say here. I know some people that know some people. Right, I'll just say that. People that everyone in the stream would have heard of. So if that carries on, I'll have to maybe have a word and just see if they can find out who it is, or it might not even be that. But the PC didn't actually die, did it? And now you've all seen it. Like that little logo thing with the little, maybe it's someone's little claim to fame. Adrian Obley says it was either come back here or watch some geezer Art World a mic plug. I don't know if my soldering's quite that bad, but I know it's not like on a professional basis. Don't do it for a living. I mean, the other day when I did that Amstrad diode, I hadn't done anything like that probably 7 or 8 years. I think I soldered on a couple of PL259 plugs. That's what it is. If I wouldn't have had multiples of 9 feet in my feeder, I'd have been fine. Moogie, welcome aboard, Dave. We just had a little bit of an issue. I don't know whether I get hacked or what, but had some weird logo come up on my screen. AM for music. Yeah, everything regarding CB at the minute, the prices have gone through the roof. Stefan says to get myself a headband magnifier. If you guys only know, straight up, if I say I'm skint, I'm proper skint. I ain't got money to buy a bag of sweets, and that ain't lying. Yeah, Colin Guntrip. Yeah, funny enough, mate, I did know it kills you, same as I knew that smoking kills you. Yeah, Phaser with me, Swady Boy, and Albast. We discussed this in some depth. I think Alan Albast actually makes computers, or used to. What I'm actually using as a monitor is a TV, and I feed it via HDMI out the back of the computer. So apart from the fact that it's receiving a picture from the PC, it's pretty much standalone, if you like. I went into the settings, went into display and power. Everything is set to not shut off. I don't know. I can't tell you any more than that. Kev63 says you'll have to start a GoFundMe just so you can have a bag of sweets. I've got some. I've got some. This is to Moogie. It was a Christmas decoration, right, Dave? And I just did that, you know, to be a bit Christmassy. And when I took it off, a few of the lads kept saying, "Where's the robin? Get the robin back on." So that's exactly what I did. And he is going to get a friend turn up anytime soon. Yeah, and the rig prices, people are now charging for empty boxes. I mean, can you believe that? I mean, it might be one of you lads in here. I mean, fair play if you do, but I saw an empty 6900 box for sale. I saw an HF box being sold. I suppose, you know, you've got to admire people's, you know. Chaz was, I says, to be fair, Steve, you don't look like you're starving. You're bang on there, mate. Bang on there. I put on so much weight during this lockdown. If any of you are ever bothered, if you look back through my videos, going back about 6 years, you'll see my weight go up and you see me weight go down. I never did it for that, just to use as like a video diary, but it has become that. I can look back like 5 years ago, you know, I had more hair, or I was thinner in the face, or this or that, or Moogie. Yeah, I used to ride bikes back in the day. I haven't had one for years. And Stefan, I've got a magnifier, well, magnifying glass. It's only a cheap thing. It's probably laying on the side here of all the other bits of scatter that I've got here. Yeah, what I like on eBay is some of these old rigs. They look like they've been dragged out of a car that might have been in a scrapyard with no roof on it. They're rusty. There's knobs missing. Looks like someone's beat it with a hammer at some point, and they're flogging, or they're asking prices in my book of what you'd want to pay if the thing came as new in the box. Unbelievable. Yeah, Chris, yeah, fair play. Yeah, I do a lot of them 10-mile runs in my sleep. Stefan says, is that bike a Bantam? No, a Bantam was a two-stroke single cylinder. Now, if you look here, you've got two pipes. That's a twin. Yeah, I could write my signature on I don't know, just some random thing, can I? I am for music. Yes, I do. We had a guy join the 305 net, and unbeknown to us, he was a shortwave listener, and he had like a scanner or a HF receiver, and he'd listen to us religiously, you know, because I used to leave work at 4, and that was when the 305 net started. Well, it started because I left work at 4 o'clock when me and Fred first sort of used to meet up. He'd been listening every day. He'd think, right, turn the receiver on. Well, he actually went the whole hog and then got, I think it was a 6900. Quite short lived. I don't know whatever happened to the guy. Nigel is in the stream. Yeah, welcome, Nigel. He's saying something about doing repairs on a DNT. He's a biker with a sidecar. I haven't had a bike for years. I think the last bike I had was some sort of old dog. I think it might have been a Yamaha 125. And I'll just share a story with you here, because my dad used to be a dispatch rider in the army, right? So he had like a little bit of a history with bikes. And he hated two-strokes. So when my little YB100 blew up for the last time, now this old bike, I got it without MOT. I put 2 new tyres on it, new front brake shoes because it was a drum brake on there. I put a new battery on it. I did loads of little jobs for it, tidied it up, got everything working, took it for its MOT, and it passed. I did it all myself. I must have been 17, 18, something like that. Now, this might make some of you lads laugh or cringe or whatever. I've got this YB100, and at the time, it's the fastest bike I'd ever had. Now, all my mates were in Luton, but I lived in Letchworth with my mum, right? I'm only young. It's dark. And on this particular bike, if the engine cut out, the lights went out. There was no lights, no side lights, nothing. I'm on the tank, right, on this dual carriageway on the way to Hitchin. I'm going downhill. There's a slip road on, and there's a car coming on. It happened to be a Jag. I can always remember this. This is the day I nearly died. I'm looking down at the speedo. My face is near enough on it. 73 mile an hour. So I thought, I'm not backing off. So I moved out. The Jag merged. I pulled back in. And that very second, without any warning, the engine seized up. This Jag just disappeared. And I'm flying down the road with the rear wheel locked up, with no lights, pitch black, no street lights. That was a scary moment. So, cut a long story short, an engine rebuild. Well, actually, believe it or not, that engine freed up. I must have pushed the thing 5 or 6 miles, and I stopped and I thought, I've got to have a fag. So I got me roll-ups out. I'm sat there in the dark on this old dual carriageway, middle of the night. And I thought, I'll just try and kick it, see what happens. Bugger me, I kicked it and it turned over. So I started it up. It got me nearly home, and then suddenly it just gave up. No compression. And when I took the head off it, the next day, there was a hole in the top of the piston you can get your thumb through. So I've got a new piston, new rings, new cotter pin, you know, the full lot, put that in. And I think just after that, I had new main bearings fitted in it, which a shop had to do because the 2 halves of the crankcase, one of the bolts that holds the engine to the frame passed through like quite a long bit of casting, and it was seized. I actually had to prise part of the frame out to drop the engine out. It took them a week to get that out. They'd done the main bearings, rebuilt it all back up. So, cut a long story short, the engine was like new. It was so much quieter than before because the mains, you could hear them. When you tooted the horn, you can only just hear it over the top of the main bearings. I did less than 50 miles and the gearbox went. And my dad bought me a new motorbike. I had a CD 200 Bentley. I wanted the KH 250 2-stroke triple cylinder, but he wouldn't have none of that. So I put in for me test. It came back for somewhere like Barnet in London. It's a complete mix up. So I sent it back and basically started, so I ain't having that. I want it in Dunstable. When it came back, I then had to take my test on a 125. And by this time, I'd near enough destroyed this 200 because I used to rag it everywhere. And I swapped it with my mate for this 125 on that same stretch of road that I nearly killed myself. I'm going along on this bike, coming towards Luton, and every now and again in the offside mirror, I saw something orange. I thought, that's weird. I don't remember there being any street lights here. Then I saw another one and another one. I actually looked behind me. There's no other cars on the road around me. What had happened? All of the coke in the exhaust pipe had caught a light, and it was gobbing bits of this coke out the back. It looked like a sparkler. It's absolutely great. Yeah, Tim says about the local cop I used to ride a 200 Bentley. It was all right. It wasn't what I wanted, but I was just grateful of it. It was brand spanking new, this bike. Yeah, if I won the lottery, I think I'd have a bike. Definitely, I'd have a big bit of land where I could ride it around when a lunatic would knock me off it. Kev 63 had a CD 175. Yeah, I remember them. My mate had one. He was an old, funny enough, he was a CBer. That's how I got to know him, old trooper. His name was Trev. He caught me on the rig one day, said my bike's knackered. He said it caught a light. And under one of the side panels, I think there was a rectifier that had melted, and he said it wouldn't work. So I was around there one day and I said, well, you can get it going, can't you? Just sort of hot wire it. And he went, hey, what are you on about? I said, yeah, just wire the coil straight to your battery. It's got a set of points on it. Well, you go. 10 minutes later, I had this thing rigged up for him. He gave it a few kick starts. That was it. He started using it again. You just had to remember to charge the battery. Darren Barwick, Putch Maxi. I never had the Maxi, but I had one of them other Putches that had like the bulbous tank. That most of them were green and white, 3-speed. And if I remember, the gears were on some sort of twisty thing, like on a scooter. Yeah, look, seems like a lot of us have had a bike. Joel Wainwright had a 79 Honda CG125. I think they're still learning people to ride on them now, Joel. Darren Bowick, Fizzy. I had one of them, but it was a dirt bike, the old FS1A. Well, there's a coincidence for you. Wayne says his first bike was a CZ175. I had one. Mine was a CZ175 trail bike, and the only difference, the exhaust went along and it swept up a little bit. My mum and dad bought me it for my birthday. I think I was 15. Road legal. Someone had put scrambler knobblies on it, chrome mud guards. It looked the absolute business. And what I learned to ride on that. My dad used to, because he had a full license on a motorbike. First time I ever saw it was Christmas Day, and my dad, obviously it was a surprise. I didn't know I was getting it. I knew something was going on, but I wasn't sure what. So Christmas Day, my dad went out there, showed me how to start it. Now on the old CZ, I think you used to push in the gear pedal and lift it back, and it was the kickstart. fired it up. He said, right, jump on the back. We went for a little ride on it, and then he took me down the fields, and I had my first ever go on a motorbike. That was stolen and all. And I also had the CZ125. That thing was pretty nippy and all. By then I was, you know, road legal. Swadey Boy's been in the big stuff. I never passed my test, Swadey Boy. Yeah, Tim, Hampshire Hog. Yeah, at least we didn't waste our youth, did we? All the important things. Crumpet, beer, motorbikes, I think, like MCB, of course. Danny Blackhorse. There's a story with a wallpaper, mate. Yeah, back in the, anyone ever have one of them C50s or C90s? My first bike I actually had on the road, bearing in mind my CZ got stolen, was a Honda C70, you know, with the old plastic. What's the name? Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Went everywhere on it. Oh God, here we go. Yeah, I just got a message from Mr. Moogie. Looks like an RD of some sort. I'll come back to that, Dave. Yeah, we're all going back a while now, aren't we? Oh, motorbikes. I used to mess about with them. My mate, Trev, who's unfortunately dead, of all things, he got killed in a car crash. He was mental on a motorbike. He's quite a skilled rider in actual fact. He had his dad bought him a YZ125 Scrambler. You want to see him go on that. Fearless. Some of the jumps he would do, I had to look the other way. In the back of his garage was a bike frame, and randomly scattered about the garage there was a front wheel and a back wheel and a tank. And I said, what is that, Trev? I think it was it wasn't the CG, it was a trials bike, it was a Honda. I think it was a 185 if I remember. I said, well, what's wrong with it? He goes, it's knackered. He said, the engine's gone. Cut a long story short, I bought it off him. I put the wheels and the forks and everything roughly on the frame. The engine was out of it. The engine was actually in a sack. I bung that on the thing and I pushed this thing home. And I looked into what was wrong with the engine. It had a bent valve, and it was bent and all. So I got a new valve for it. I mean, I was only young, I was a bit of a kid, but the camshaft where it run in the head had a little bit of play on it. And I think what was happening, that the camshaft was doing this. I mean, there was a repair where they machined that out and put roller bearings in. I wasn't interested in that. The thing went. And he was that impressed with it, he ended up buying it back off me. And Kev63 says you can't fall off a car nose for sure. Darren Barwick is talking about the Fireblade. They're out of my league then. I worked with a mechanic who had a Fireblade, and he was another one of these guys. It's absolute speed freak. And I think the fastest he had out of that was 175 mile an hour. I'd have been screaming like a bitch. $175 mile an hour. It's absolute lunatic. He fell off at that speed, you know. Oh my God, Joel got a moped from a catalogue. Yeah, thinking about it, I'm sure that you're right. They did used to do that, Joel. Okay. Now listen, guys. What happened earlier, I don't know. The computer was fine, but I don't know. Let's call it an alien attack. I think that's what buggered up that stream. That's just a guess. I'll have to play the other stream back and have a little look at that image. I mean, I don't know. Any of you guys got any idea what that image was? Would you say I was hacked or a computer issue? They can have what they like with my computer because I ain't got no money anyway. Oh my God, Joel's just saying about his moped called a Thomas. I can't visualise them, but I remember. I do remember them. I'm going to have to YouTube that, and when I finished here. That's brilliant. And just while we're all sort of chatting rubbish about motorbikes, which I ain't got any problem with at all, the fastest bike I ever went on, the most exhilarating, was a YZ250. My mate bought it from the local dirt bike centre. And basically, he could have gone to a race meeting and raced it. It weren't road legal. Got an itch. And he said to me one day, "Just go on your bike, Steve." Now, we was in a pit off the road, right? My bike was only probably 4 or 5 months old. And my mate Terry could do the full length of the field on his trials bike on the back wheel. He used to stand on the seat, go through all the gears. His balance was unbelievable and jumps. He said, "If you let me ever go on your bike, I'll let you ever go on my YZ." I said, "Right, mate." I said, "But don't jump it. You know, I've got to look after this because my dad bought me it and all that." I don't know what he did with my bike. I got on this thing. It had to be about 7 foot to get on it. Of course, me being a bit on the heavy side, soon sorted that out. I went down this field. I think I got it into about third gear and started wringing its neck a little bit. It was sort of quite a smooth field. It's grass, if you like. And I remember changing into fifth gear. Thought, God, this thing's really smooth. And then I realised the front wheel was off the floor. When I got off it, I was shaking with adrenaline. The thing was like a rocket ship. I loved it. Johnny Wiltshire says his mate took him down the A45 at 140 mile an hour. I would have killed him if that was me. I'm not a very good passenger. I'm all right, but you get someone who's a bit of a lunatic. I'm trying to remember the name. I bought a moped off my next door neighbour. It's one of these pedal things. The name escapes me at the minute. I bought it off him dirt cheap. He used to use it for work. Then he got himself a little HA van. And I bought it off him because it was the time that my YB100 needed a piston. I had to ride from Dunstable to Berkhamsted to this dealer to get the piston and all the other bits I needed. And I thought, this bike will do. Freezing cold. I don't know what time of year it was. It was winterish time. Jumps on this bike. I mean, it'd do 45 on a good day, this little putt. Took it to the garage. Now, it's one of them where you had to mix the two-stroke in the tank. So I put a drop of oil in it, and as I put the nozzle to fill it up with petrol, I pulled it a bit quick, and a bit shot off the tank and went on. It's like a fan belt on this thing. I didn't really think nothing of it. Went in and paid. When I come out, this belt was slipping because it had a drop of oil on it. It must have took me 20 minutes for that belt to grip, to spin the engine over. And of course, I'm full of sweat then. I've got all waterproof things on. And then, of course, out on the road, it was sort of icy time of year. I'll never forget that. Moogie, 73s, mate. Thanks for joining the stream. Hopefully, we'll see you in the next one, mate. Nigel's had a couple of bantams. I come close, Nigel. A mate of mine had one. He skimmed the head on it. It was basically a dirt bike. And basically, it knocked the ends out on it. And I was going to have it off him. We had some sort of deal half going. I went round there one day. It was gone. Someone else had it, you know. So, yeah, never had a bantam. Yeah, Gizmo, what CB you got, mate? Joel, no, your street cred is sound, mate. We all had what we had back in the day, didn't we? Got a Colt 295. I can't remember what one that is. There was a few Colts, weren't there? AMs, AMFMs, and the sidebanders. Phaser's got a VTR 1000 V-twin. Brilliant. Yeah, I'd probably end up with brown trousers if I ended up on one of these new super bike things. Right, guys, listen. I've just clocked the time here. I've been on here for an hour and a half with that little hiccup in the middle. I'm going to have to get myself gone. I think the chat still continues after I end the stream, but I'll say thanks for popping along. Only 9 likes. I mean, what are you lot like? You're old bikers, isn't it? Gizmo White. FM. Kev63, thanks for popping by, mate. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I enjoy all of these. Don't care if I get hacked. The computer goes up with a big ball of flames. It's still a good crack in it. While we're doing this, we ain't, you know, doing no one no harm, are we? Alan Albus, 73s, mate. Catch you soon. Anas, take care, mate. It'd be good to see you back here on Wednesday. Adrian Obby, yeah, it's an hour and a half just gone, Adrian. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Joel. It's how it goes in these streams. You know, we come on here, we might be talking about CB. Next minute, be talking about lawnmowers, motorbikes, or what gear we used to smoke back in the day. You never do know, do you? Allegedly. Yeah, Eric, no worries. My pleasure, mate. Boxing Day 11. Thanks for dropping by, mate. Danny Packhorse. Allegedly, I said. Wayne, take care of yourself, mate. Eddie's mum, yeah, take care. If you need any more help with that shed, don't be shy. Gizmos, 73, mate. Yeah, I can't wait for it to be Wednesday now. Maybe carry on with a motorbike thing. I might have to put a t-shirt with something else on it. It's amazing how a thought can trigger something in it. Yeah, Joel, got you on that, mate. Okay, look, thanks everyone for popping by. It's been a lot of fun. Again, I say sorry about the glitch earlier. I really don't know what that is. I'll see if I can get a screenshot of that and then run it through the Google images. It might just be something, random. Could be YouTube glitching, could be a hack. But before I go, Danny Blackhorse just commented on a 148 in good condition. It can cost you 700 quid. I won't give you 700 quid for one. I think the Cobra 148 GTLDX is one of the best CB type rigs ever built, amongst others. But I wouldn't give you 700 quid for one. Right, that's it before I get sucked in and end up spending another hour because I'll be getting a little bit of ear roll, guys. So catch you Wednesday. You all take care. Stay safe. We'll catch you soon, fellas.